राधे गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you everyone. I would like to take blessings of all of the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak something relevant from Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada Krishna. So, as you all know that we have started a new chapter, chapter 18, I think last week. So I'll quickly share my screen, the words which are going to discuss today. Host can enable my screen sharing, please.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'll try now. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you are able to see. I think you should be able to see now. So today we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita 18.16, the perfection in renunciation, conclusion, the chapter name. So please repeat after me. Tatra evam sati kartaram.
तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम्
Atmanaham kevalam tuya.
आत्मानं केवलं तु यः
Pashyati akrita buddhitvan.
पश्यति अकृता बुद्धित्वान्
Nasa pashyati durmati.
न स पश्यति दुर्मति
तत्र एवं सति कर्तारम्
तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम्
आत्मनां केवलं तु या
आत्मानं केवलं तु यः
पश्यति अकृतबुद्धित्वान्
पश्यति अकृतबुद्धित्वान्
न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः
न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः
तत्र एवं सति कर्तारम्
तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम्
आत्मनां केवलं तु या
आत्मानं केवलं तु यः
पश्यति अकृतबुद्धित्वान्
पश्यति अकृता बुद्धित्वान्
न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः
न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः
Anyone would like to recite the verse?
तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम्
तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम्
आत्मनां केवलं तु या
आत्मानं केवलं यः
पश्यते अकृता बुद्धित्वान्
पश्यति अकृता बुद्धित्वान्
न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः
न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु यः पश्यति अकृतबुद्धित्वान् न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः
तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मनं केवलं तु यः पश्यति कृतबुद्धितान्य नाशा पश्यति दुर्मतिः
नाशा
पश्यति दुर्मतिः
तत्रैवं सति कर्ताराम्
तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम्
आत्मानं केवलं तु यः
आत्मानं
कर्तारम्
केवलं
आत्मनं
तु यः
केवलं तु यः
पश्यते अकृतबुद्धितान्
पश्यति अकृतबुद्धित्वान्
नाश पश्यति दुर्मति
न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः
Anyone else? Okay. So we'll go word by word. Tatra,
तत्र
there,
there
evam,
एवं
thus,
thus
sati,
सति
being,
being
kartaram,
कर्तारं
the workers,
the
the
worker
वर्कर्
atmanam,
आत्मनं
himself,
himself
kevalam,
केवलं
only,
only
to,
to
but,
but
yeah,
yeah
anyone who,
anyone who
pashyati,
pashyati
sees,
sees
akrita buddhitvat,
akrita buddhitva
due to unintelligence,
due to
due to
unintelligence
unintelligence
na,
na
न
never,
never
नेवर्
saha,
सः
सः
he,
he
हि
pashyati,
पश्यति
पश्यति
sees,
sees
durmati,
दुर्मति
foolish.
foolish
foolish
So we'll read translation and purport by His English Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A foolish person cannot understand that the super soul is sitting as a friend within and conducting his actions. Although the material causes are the place, the worker, the endeavor, the senses, the final cause is the supreme, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, one should see not only the 4 material cause, but the supreme efficient cause as well. One who does not see the supreme thinks himself to be the doer. So we start discussing. This is in relation to the verses which we discussed earlier. So Krishna has told in 14th verse, right? 18.14, the 5 factor of action. Can anybody tell me what are those 5 factors in action? Does anybody remember from the last 2 classes we are discussing those 5 factors? You can share one of them and the others can share whatever they know.
endeavors, all the action endeavors is one of them.
Yeah, nice, Mataji. So endeavor is one of them. What is the other 4? Can anybody would like to share? So Mataji said endeavor is the right, and we need 4 more.
Super soul.
Yes, super soul. Thank you, Prabhu. So endeavor, super soul. What are the 3 others?
body mind and speech
Yeah, Mataji, body is correct. 3 we got. We left 2 more.
Soul.
Yes, the performer, Karta. 1 more.
mind
Yeah, basically the senses. So they are instrument. So 5 factor in action are, which we have discussed in verse 14, and here in the purport where we were reading, there also Prabhupada mentions these 5 factors in action. So first is the body, and the place of action is the body, and the performer. Who is the performer? Performer is Karta, the doer. Who is that? The soul. And the various senses are the tools basically which we use to perform an action, and many different kind of endeavors. So we do different kind of endeavors to achieve something, right? So different kind of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action. So what basically we have already discussed this. I think Pyare Prabhu nicely gave the class yesterday. Ganpati Govind Prabhu also explained. So these 5 factors are in action. Basically in this verse Krishna is saying, if we read the translation, it says who only, Krishna says here that who thinks himself the only doer. So sometimes people think that I am the only doer, and he do not bother about other 5 factors that are involved to perform an action. He is not intelligent. Moreover, Krishna says he is durmati, he is foolish. So that's what Krishna is trying to explain here. So here, why Krishna is basically telling, do you have any idea why Krishna is classifying actions in this way? Any guess? Why does Krishna is classifying this action like these 5 factors? Any suggestions? Any answers? Okay. So why Krishna classifies these actions? Because Krishna wants us to know that, okay, you are the doer, but you are only a very small amount, very small percentage has been contributed by you. So because we know that whatever action we do not have any control on those actions. So even though those actions are also right, prakriti kriyamanani guna karmani sarvasa ahankara vimuratma kartamati manyate. So there also 327 Krishna says that whoever thinks that I am the doer foolishly, and he does not know that the material modes acting, so that actions also we have some control as we can purify our actions and go to the higher modes, as we have already discussed in 14th chapter. But here we do not have a single control on the results of the action. So we can do some activities, but we cannot say the result should be yes for this or no for this. So we do not have any control in actions. Yes, we play little part in there, but in this verse, Purport Prabhupada says that if I just quickly see here, Prabhupada says that the final cause is the supreme. So what is the main cause out of these 5 factors is the ultimate cause, that is Krishna, the super soul. We all know that who is the super soul is Krishna. So sometimes what happens, right, as Krishna is saying that we are who is foolish, who is not able to understand these 5 factors. So because sometimes what we do, most of the time we want to take credit. If we do something good, we really want to take credit for that, and if we really do anything bad, we want to put it on others. So that is the nature, right? We want to put the blame on others. So either way, we want to say that I am the doer for the good thing, and like that we shift that. So basically what happens, sometimes if the people are generous, they give credit to some of the people, like they give credit to the endeavor. Okay, I have done, or she has done, or he has done this much work, this much endeavor to achieve that. So his or her endeavor counts. So sometimes people give credit to endeavor, they give credit to place, and they give credit to the senses. So what happens when in the night we drive? So we have the same senses, but do you think we can drive efficiently as we drive in the afternoon time? It's really difficult. You cannot see small distance also in the night. It's really, really difficult to drive. So the sense, because our senses are imperfect, so we give the credit, okay, my senses work properly when there is sunshine. And who creates the sunshine? What Krishna says, I am the splendor of the sun and the moon, in 15th chapter, as we are reading every day the translations, right, and verses also for 15th chapter as Purushottam month. So that senses, they say, okay, senses we give the credit, and sometimes, right, but everybody, they forget to give the credit to the supreme. They miss that ultimate cause. Who is the ultimate cause? If super soul, right? Yesterday we discussed in 13th chapter, Krishna says upadrishta anumanta. Upadrishta is overseer, and anumanta is he is the permitter. If without Krishna's action, nothing can happen. We have discussed earlier, we cannot even move our hand if the sanction of the super soul is not there. So sometimes, and if we see some author's book, right, so they, I mean, if we leave about devotees book, but if you see general book, they never give credit. They might give credit to their family members, they have helped me, or their friends, their neighbors. But if they are generous, they don't want to take all the credit. They say, okay, these many people helped me to write this book, I am not the single person, we were the five member of the team and we did that. But the who is the ultimate giver of that particular action is the super soul. He is the ultimate cause, and we tend to forget that. That's why Krishna is saying that, and Prabhupada clearly mentioned that the ultimate cause is Krishna. So you have seen people do not want to give, and how many people, if they have their graduations or any any speech they give, how many times people say, I would like to thank the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or there is a Supreme Cause. They just forget. They just, sometimes people just remember the God when they are in difficulty, or sometimes that too also it's not necessary. They, and some people, they'll be thinking, okay, some bad thing is going on, what God is doing good to me, why should I remember the God? Like that the people also try to think. So but as we have discussed in earlier classes, the devotee is one who will run to the God in the good situation, as well as he run to the God in the bad situation as well. He is called a devotee. So main problem is earlier as we discussed, main problem is we tend to forget, we do not recognize Krishna as the ultimate cause in all our actions. And how Krishna becomes efficient cause, can anyone let me know what is the definition of efficiency, and what does efficient means? When we hear this term, what does come in our mind? Efficient or efficiency, what does come in our mind? I'm sure everyone have heard that term, efficient.
To perform an action in most optimal way.
Yeah, to perform an action in the most optimal way. So efficient cause. So Prabhupada says here, Krishna is the efficient cause. So efficient, and we can also define it as the most amount of work has been done, but with the least endeavor or least labor, and most most amount of work has been done. So here Krishna is, when Krishna wants to do something, he just plays his flute. He don't have to do anything. If we want to achieve something, if we want to do some work, we have to think so many ways, so plan so many ways, either in daily routine thing you also see, right? Daily, either you have household work, you have office work, daily routine, we have to make some endeavor. But when Krishna wants to do anything, he just put the very very least amount of work, because his energy is basically work. Krishna's energy work. But what we see in this material world is, as you go higher in the if, let's say, if you take the case of an organization where a CEO, he is at the top level, but he has to shed his blood to make the things together. If he makes so much of money, but he has to give so much of time also, is all the times will go basically in the airplane, moving, flying from here and there. He has to work so much to maintain that position. So he's higher in material world, is higher. To maintain his position, he has to work that much, if he want to maintain his position as he go higher. But Krishna, as we understand, Krishna is higher. His topmost personality is Asamma Urdhva. Nobody is equal to Krishna. If nobody is equal to Krishna, nobody can be greater than Krishna. So Asamma Urdhva is the one name of Krishna. So Krishna is the topmost, but when Krishna has to work, his energy is work actually. Krishna doesn't work. He just plays his flute and the Gayatri comes out of his flute. And this is how he works. And when Vishnu, his expansion has to work. So Mahavishnu, how does he work? He just sleep, and while sleeping he breathe, and with his breathing so many universes come out. So see how they are so efficient. Can you imagine how the Mahavishnu's body will be? Then he's breathing out these universes. Sometimes very difficult to understand. But these are the inconceivable energy of the Lord. So everything is possible for the Lord. So that's how Krishna has to work very little if he has to work. So he is the efficient cause for everything. If he does very nicely. If we see in this material world also how the things have been put together. So planets are going around its axis, and sun is coming, sun is setting. Nobody is telling the sun to come and to set. It's just, I think there is one verse in Bhagavatam where it says that by Krishna's sphere, sun moves in his orbit. It comes, it rises and it sets at a time, and also the wind blows. Everything has been set up very nicely, and how the Krishna has put it together. But he doesn't work. What he does, he just enjoy the Nitya Leela in his supreme abode. It's called Goloka Vrindavan. So Krishna, enjoy there. And if you see, right, Krishna, what does Brahma says in Brahma Samhita? He says, Ishvara Parma Krishna Sachitananda Vikra Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna is the cause of all cause. So there is no cause, and Krishna is the efficient cause, and we should understand that these five vector working. If the place is there, our senses are there, Karta, obviously we are there, the soul is there, right? Without soul, the body cannot work anything, because soul is the main, in the spirit is important. Body is just lump of matter. So if all the four things are there in place, but if super soul sanction is not there, nobody can move from here to there. So that we have to understand. So it's very, very important that we should always understand that Krishna is behind each and every action. So we should not consider ourselves as karta. So sometimes I was thinking this example actually when the doctors, right? I was also saying this example earlier, I'm not sure, in one call. So when doctor do some surgery, so let's say if we do some heart surgery, and it might happen that one patient is safe, but another two patient, he's not able to save. So, but he takes a credit when he do the surgery successfully. He takes a credit that I have saved this man. Like he'll have that proud that I have saved this man. Then he should also take the credit of not saving the other man, or basically he has killed the other man. But he doesn't say like that, right? He doesn't say that I have killed that. But when there is a time of taking the credit, he takes. But there are persons and all, and we should understand that even saving this, if you do anything, right? I remember one verse, actually I would like to share that verse. So Bhagavatam, so the doctor verse is what it is. I mean, the doctor is not taking the credit of killing, but he is saying, okay, I have saved this person, but you should also take the blame also, but he is not going to take. So we should understand the supreme cause. Even though he wanted to save that person, he was unable to do so because the super soul sanction was not there, even though they have done anything. So they have got so much top surgeon for the heart surgery and like that. So it's a very, very beautiful words by Prahlad Maharaj from Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto 9th chapter 19th verse, where Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. He says, Balasya neha sharanam pitaro Narsimha नार्तस्य चगातहम उद्वन्ति मजतो नुः तप्तस्य तत्प्रतिविधिर या इहान जसेष्ठास तावत विभु तनुभृतम तवाद upekshitanam. So what Prahlad Maharaj is saying here, we should very attentively listen to Prahlad Maharaj prayer. He is one of the 12 Mahajan, and very, very beautiful prayers Prahlad Maharaj offered to Lord Nrsimhadev, just a 5-year-old devotee. My Lord Nrsimhadev, O Supreme, because of a bodily conception of life, embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient. and a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. So if we have not been cared by the Lord, we cannot do anything for our betterment. Whatever we think, whatever we take any measurement, that will be for temporary relief only. And he gives the example, like if I have some disease or somebody has some disease, they can try to take the medicine, but that doesn't guarantee that they will get better. It when super soul sanction wouldn't be there, they would not get better, how much medicines they take. So it might be sometimes they get cured, so that will be temporary beneficial, but it is certainly impermanent, because it is not solving the problem of birth, death, old age and disease. If we are getting healthy in this body, but we should understand that our soul has been entrapped within this body. So that's how we have to work, progress. What is the progress in Krishna consciousness? To liberate our soul, to try to attain love of Krishna and liberate our soul. So and father and mother, they cannot protect their child. No father and mother want their child to suffer. And no father and mother, sometimes you see, right, the small child, and due to the COVID, I have also heard earlier when it started. So some small infant child, they die. No father and mother want their child to die, but that happens. Why that happens? Because we are not the protector. We are not the real protector. We have to understand that. And he is also saying, even though the boat is there, a man drowning, if he has to that soul has to pass that body, that he cannot be saved. So that we have to understand from this verse. Only Krishna is the savior, right? Krishna is the only one. And Krishna also says, right, Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetu Nanena Konteya Jagat Viprari Vardate. So Krishna says that whatever this material energy, this is working under my direction, right? And the spirit soul bewildered by the no, that is the 327, just pardon me. So this is this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. So this is my energy, this material world is my energy, and it is working under my direction. He says, son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings under its soul, this manifestation is created and inhalated again and again. So what is happening? This material energy, this nature is working under Krishna's direction. So right, we get different type of body according to Krishna's direction, and that's how we take one body after another body, and then we give up this body and takes another body. In 15th chapter we are reading every day 8th verse, yeah, right? So how the air is passing, the aroma of the place, air is not good or bad, but the place where it passed through, that is good and bad. So we takes our different conception. So how our soul grouped about mind takes that conception, right? Whatever I have developed in this life, it will go further in my next life. So because the mind goes, the subtle body goes with the soul, mind, intelligence and false ego. So it goes with the soul, and that's how it takes a conception to the another body. And it has been mentioned in 15th chapter. I have not that verse open, but I'm remembering as we are reading here. So I think Krishna says there that as air carries aroma, similarly we take our conception from one body to another body. And fools, they do not understand that. They are Krishna mentions them there as fools also. So here this is what is discussed in this verse, right? I had this to share. Does anybody has any comments, questions, realization? Please do share. Otherwise we'll go to the next verse, but if you have something to share, we can listen that.
So what makes us think that we are in control, even though
Yes,
all
Mataji.
evidence points to we are not?
So that next words will come. So what makes us think that we are the controller is our false ego. That makes us think that we are the controller, even though we are not. I mean, as a devotee, we are trying to understand, right? We are not in control. So many things, as I want, it will not happen. So sometimes people think that after marriage they'll become so happy, this will happen, that will happen, and if I'll get this job I'll become happy, but when they go to the job they also try to cry. So some people think if I change my job then I'll become happy, but all things are, these are the just our dream condition, we what is the function of mind is to accept and reject the thing. So because of our false ego, we think that we are the controller. But when we understand from Prabhupada's book, then we understand that no, we are not the controller. It's our false ego which says that I am the controller. Because sometimes, okay, I think that okay, some things are working fine. So I looks like I am the controller, but I am not the controller.
But you pointed out one thing. You said like the doctor, when he saves a patient, he thinks he is the doer, but when some patient passes away, he doesn't think he's the controller.
Yeah.
In many cases, many people even take their failures
Yes.
as something they did.
Yes.
That is not a good thing either.
So no. So what happens, Mataji? So let's say if we take an example of this doctor, if he thinks that he was definitely involved, we are not minimizing his endeavor or efforts to save that person. But
yeah, I understand
yeah,
that. Yes.
yeah. If the super soul sanction is not there, he cannot save, even though
Correct.
he. Yeah, so that we have to understand why Krishna is saying here, because some people, even before we came, how much we know about super soul, how much we know about the spiritual world and all these things, right? We are learning from because of Srila Prabhupada mercy that he has translated and he has given this beautiful knowledge to us so that we can read, discuss amongst devotees and we can tell to others. So my point would be because of the false ego, we think that we are the controller.
Right, but just like super soul sanction is not there, he can't save. If the super soul sanction is not there, the patient cannot die either.
Yes, yes, right. So if somebody, let's say, take an example that the road accident happens, right? So 2 or 3 people would be there, and the small baby would get saved. So what does that happen? That the elders, they have the more bodily strength and all, but they died, and this small child survived because of that super soul sanction, because that was not the time for child to leave that body. So yes, they.
So what I'm trying to say is like just like our false ego thinks like I saved that patient.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think people who get into deep depression think that they caused the death also. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That is not good either.
That is not good either. Yeah, that is true, Mataji. That is not good either. So sometimes the people think that they are the one. Yeah, that because they should think that it is because of the super soul sanction which is happening. Nothing can happen without. That's why Krishna is there as a super soul in our heart. Nothing can work without Krishna being expanded as a super soul in all of our body, right? Nothing will work.
So my question is that also false ego? Like sometimes some people think when they do something,
No.
they false
Yes.
because of their falsehood, they think they did it. This is success. But I'm saying even in failure, some people get depressed and think that they caused the failure. So that is also false ego, isn't it?
Yes, that will be also the false ego because we are not recognizing the super sanction of the super soul, supreme cause and efficient cause. We are not recognizing in that case also. So that will also be categorized as the false ego of that person because he is not able to understand that I could not do much because it's in the hand of the supreme soul. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of depression and discouragement comes from that attitude,
That attitude also. Yes, Mataji, you're true. So that will be also, according to me, will be in the false ego because he's not recognizing the supreme cause.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people cannot accept that so well,
Mm-hmm. Right.
But Matadi, should we call it ego or ignorance? Because ego should be generally when you achieve and you puffed up with something, that's the ego, right?
Prabhuji, actually, Prabhupada says 2 terms. False ego. Ego will be there. Ego, you cannot remove the ego. But false ego, when we are in the bodily conception of life, and when we are not in bodily conception of life, means we understand that we are soul and we understand our duty as as a soul, then we are in real ego. Ego cannot be removed. Ego, as I understand your point, but how Prabhupada explains, the ego cannot be removed. Why we say false ego? Because we are in the false conception, we are in bodily conception of the life, and when we come to the real identity, then we'll be in the real ego. Ego
No,
cannot.
but that was not his question, Padmalochan. His question was, when we, like, let's say, oh, I didn't teach my child so well and that's why he failed the exam or something, you're putting the blame on yourself. That is also, he's saying that's ignorance and not false ego. I think that is still false ego and not ignorance.
Both are, Mataji. If we are
Yeah.
puffed up also, that is also called ignorance. False ego means ignorance. What is
Yeah, I
ignorance?
mean, false ego
Ignorance
means
means,
generally ignorance, but I'm
yeah.
saying both saying like, oh, I taught my child so well, that's why he got an A, is
Mhm.
false ego. But
Mhm.
also saying, oh my God, it was because I didn't teach my child so well, my child got a C or something. If you did your level best to teach your child, and if your child got an A or a C, that is Krishna's will. You know what I'm saying? You did your best, but you can't blame yourself for the success, but you can't blame yourself for the failure either. Both are false ego, isn't it?
Yeah, both are false ego, and what Prabhuji is saying, that we say that this person is very egoistic, right? Like that, right, Prabhuji? We say that, oh, this person, look at him or her, she's very egoistic,
Yeah.
like
So
that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
correct. So, but I think Gita Mata is like clearing it. Yeah. So I was thinking, when you are in depression and you think it happened because of me, why we are calling it ego? But it's not. We are calling it ego. It's a false ego.
It's a false ego. In
Correct.
both the
Yeah.
False
cases,
So I have to
ego.
it's
take
a
entire
false
word,
ego.
and in entire word can be interpreted in both way. Okay.
No, Mataji,
Yes, so
can I?
yes, ego would be always there. Ego cannot be removed because ego is my identity, right? I am the individual soul. But when I am in the true identity, then it will be called as real ego. So
Mataji,
Prabhupada says that ego cannot be given up. Somebody
But
said,
most of the time, people think false ego is when you're proud of something you
yeah,
did.
no.
But
yes,
I am trying to understand it is false ego is not just when you're proud of something, even when you put yourself down too much because,
yes,
oh,
Mataji.
No.
you are still not the doer. Whether you failed or succeeded, you're still not the doer.
Yeah, you are the very minute doer, the
Yeah, a
ultimate
minor,
doer,
yeah,
the ultimate,
ultimate
yeah,
doer,
like
exactly. Yeah,
yes,
Can I?
yeah.
Can
yes,
I?
that's what,
Can I just interrupt,
yeah, we
Mataji?
discussed.
Can I
No,
interrupt?
Prabhu, say please, not
Yeah.
interruption. Yeah, you can
No, no,
share.
no. Yeah, because look, I will. Gita Malaji, Mataji, and Prabhuji was asking. Let me show you my ego now. Um, so actually, what Mataji, Padmalochan Mataji is trying to explain the fundamental definition of ego. Aham, I am, is the ego, right? So when we become egoless, we are pure consciousness. So the ego, Mataji, you and Prabhuji is talking is the normal term what we are using in the world as ego. There is nothing called puffed up ego. There is nothing called subdued ego. Ego is in this form. When we have taken this form, there is I am, which is built of 5 senses, intelligence, and ego. I think Padmalochani Mataji is saying that ego, that the existence of us is the ego. So whatever we do, whether it's a good or a bad, right, associating to ourself is itself is fundamentally flawed, because in pure consciousness, we are not the controller, we are not the doer, we are not the knower. So Mataji was telling, I think you were trying to tell a very subtle definition of the ego, what is written in Shastra.
But she did say that pure ego exists, that we are not egoless. That's not true. Our real ego says we are servant of Krishna. That is our real identity.
No, Mataji, we become egoless then. We become, so there is I don't
That's
know
not
all
true.
So Mataji, definition, right? I don't know all the verses, but I can find you.
So, yeah, Prabhuji, what happens, right? Actually, when what you explained is good, but what happens, right? What Prabhupada says that when we cannot give up ego. Ego will be there, but we should be in our real ego. Our real ego is, because we are the individual identity, we cannot give up the ego. That will be the real ego. When we think that we are the servant of Krishna, we should not think we are actually Jivera Sarupa Krishna Nityadas. When we are in that definition of ego, then that is called a real ego. We cannot give up ego. We cannot become egoless by Prabhupada. Like he says that he cannot become we cannot become egoless. It should be true ego should be there. False ego is what? When I am misled. So let's say, if we take an example of a person, right? He is let's say he's a little bit mad, his mental condition is not good. And if you see, I think some people will be there in mental hospital, but if he thinks that he's Trump, is his thinking is correct or not correct? But he is not Trump. So when we think that what we are not, that is called false ego. And when we are in correct pure consciousness, that is what we are. Mama vamshi jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manasasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. So Krishna says all the living entity are my part and parcel, and they are struggling in this material world with with six senses, including the mind. So that real ego will be there. We do not become egoless. That's what I remember what Prabhupada says actually.
Yeah, no, you're right, Mataji. That's what Prabhupada said, right? Because as long as we exist in this material nature, the ego is fundamental to us. So that's why we want to stay always with the real ego, which is in the Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then when we again, and I'm not that knowledgeable. That's why I said, I'm not that knowledgeable. But on this one, because I have tried to understand ego really, like the everyday use or the Shastra use of the word ego. And then like pure consciousness is when you don't even have this ego that I am. Basically, you are just a part and parcel of, the Supreme. So yes, I think for the material world, the real ego is that you are completely devoted to Krishna consciousness and you surrender to him completely, right? Irrespective of what happens. And I think you are right. What you are saying is that whether it's a good or a bad, that is still a false ego, right? When we think either we have done good or either we have done bad, which Mataji was trying to explain, right? Both sides. Still,
Yes.
it is both are false ego.
Yes, Prabhu, right.
Right, Mataji? That's what you were trying to say, right, Geeta Mataji?
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu, your understanding is correct, Prabhu.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah. But I'm saying we should not be impersonal, that we just want to give up our individuality altogether,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not very knowledgeable, Mataji. I rarely speak. So I just thought, because I had read about this one, so I thought I will share
you came to the right conclusion.
Yeah, you said
Satyendra.
good, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah, we share, we discuss between among selves, we share. It's not like sometimes we should not be speaking and we don't get a chance to hear
Exactly,
others.
to clear, yeah.
But
Exactly.
we should hear other as well, so that it will be.
Still, I'm least knowledgeable here, right? So I have to be very careful what I
Prabhu,
say.
it's not like that. No, nobody's knowledgeable.
None of us are that knowledgeable. That's why we ask questions, to clear it up, na Satyendra.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah, nobody. We are also trying to learn, Prabhu. It's not something that we know everything. We don't know, Prabhu, a lot of the things. So, if anybody has further question, if not, then we'll go to the next verse.
Mataji, one question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So for a person who is taking excuse of there is a super soul and everything happens by the will of super soul, taking that as an excuse and performing any kind of actions, means that person knows and he used that as an excuse when he tried to justify his action. Will that be, I know it is not correct, it may be an offense, but I don't know whether that's a false ego. I don't know whether I'm clear in my question.
So, Prabhu, let me rephrase your question and let me just clarify if I understood correctly. So you are saying that the person knows. So let's say if somebody has some knowledge about this subject matter and he thinks like that, okay, I am doing this and super soul is sanctioning this. So I am basically doing the wrong thing and I'm justifying it as a super soul sanction. That's what you're saying?
Yes, Mataji. So he's still essentially taking the excuse, but he's still performing the action just to justify. Even if someone asks him, he'll say, "No, it is all grand. It is all approved by super souls. It's all right." So kind of.
So what happens, Prabhuji? Actually, I think earlier, I think Pyare Prabhu sometimes back was giving this example that what happens, right, for a child, and if say we have the children, right? So for a child, if Pyare Prabhu was mentioning recently that he wants to touch the fire, but parents says don't do. He want to again insist that he want to touch the fire. Parents says don't do. Third time, no, don't do, but he eventually want to touch. So what the parent can do, they know that he'll get hurt, but he's so stubborn that they are not able to convince. So same thing happens between us and Krishna. So Krishna doesn't want us to do the bad things, but what happens, we are so stubborn. And the one thing with Krishna is Krishna doesn't interfere with our free will. If he interfere with our free will, then there is no individuality remains. So it will be like a slave relationship, right? So but Krishna doesn't interfere, so that's how it happens. For the bad thing also which will happen, Krishna do not want the people to do that, but what happens, he wants to do that. He insists that I want to do this. Why we have come here? We have come here the same thing. Do you think Krishna will be very happy leaving us, like from the spiritual world? Krishna is very very sad. We hear in the Gop Kumara, when he go back, how Krishna cries. So Krishna is very much, we do not want to go to the spiritual world, but Krishna is very anxious for all of us to bring to his to his kingdom, because he know that we are suffering. Sometimes we don't know, we think, okay, I have a wife, I have a husband, I have a children, I have this and I have that, I have a home, I have everything. I am very comfortably sitting here, but I do not want to go. What is the spiritual world? I do not want to go. But Krishna is very anxious, so that's how he sent. So Krishna gives protection, right? I'll explain that. But for your question, it will be not, it will be sanctioned only when we are stubborn, and and Krishna also sees that karma. So yesterday Ganpati Govind Prabhu was explaining that karma should be there. If I think that I will not chant, if super sanction will be there, then only I will chant. Not, we have to do, because we are also the doer. A little bit we have to do from our part also. We cannot think that okay, I'll sit and super soul will get me the things. So as in case of Arjuna, Krishna has already showed that all of these are dead, in the universal form. When he shows, he clearly told Arjuna that all of these are dead. You just become a nimit matra, you just you just become an instrument. They are already killed. If you are not going to war, anyways, Krishna will get somebody else, right? Somebody else will do that work, and then that person gets credit. But Krishna told Arjuna, because those were already being killed there. So actually that excuse should not be there. That is an offense. So as an offense to the holy name is when we do the sinful activity on the strength. I think seventh offense on the out of the 10 offenses to the holy name of the Lord, one offense is to do the sinful activity on the strength of the chanting of the holy name. So if I, or if anybody else chant, he continuously chant holy name, and then he perform the activities, sinful activities. So he says, okay, I'll chant today, and then I'll perform in the evening, I'll perform some sinful activity, and then it will counteract with my chanting. That is an offense. So I think basically this is an offense, Prabhu, when we think, and this is wrong. It should.
Thank you, Mataji. I thought so. Actually, it's an offense. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. So anybody has anything to share? Okay. If not, we'll quickly go to the words, because we have 10 minutes left. So let me just go to next and share my screen. I'm not getting that option now. Wait, 1 second. Nandagopal Prabhu, would you be able to share Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. 17. Okay, so we'll read one time this verse and then we'll discuss. Can anybody see the screen?
Just come.
We can see now.
Yassa nahang krituho bhavo
Yashya Nahan Kratvabhavo
buddhir yasya na lipyate
Buddhir Yashyana Lipate
atvapi sa iman loka
Atvapi Sa Iman
Loka.
Lokan
nahanti na nibhitate.
Nahanti Na Nivadate.
So word by word, I'll just read quickly. Yasya, one whose, na never, ahankrita false ego, bhavaha nature, buddhi intelligence, yasya one whose, na never, lipyate is attached, hatva killing, api even, saha he, iman this lokan world, na never, hanti kills, na never, nibhadyate becomes entangled. So one who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kill men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. So purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego. Arjuna thought himself to be the doer of action, but he did not consider the supreme sanction within and without. If one does not know that a super sanction is there, why should he act? But one who knows the instrument of work himself as the worker and the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Sanctioner is perfect in doing everything. Such a person is never in illusion. Personal activities and responsibilities arises from false ego and godlessness, or a lack of Krishna consciousness. Anyone who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the super soul or the supreme personality of Godhead, even though killing does not kill, nor is he ever affected by the reaction of such killing. When a soldier kills under the command of a superior officer, he is not subject to be judged. But if a soldier kills on his own personal account, then he is certainly judged by a court of law. So here we have already discussed much about the false ego. So here what Krishna says that whoever is not motivated by false ego. So if that person is not motivated by false ego, then his intelligence is not entangled, and even if he kills the man in this world, he does not get by the bound by his action. Who knows that verse? Lokoam karmana bandhana. Can anybody tell me that verse? Lokoam karma bandhana.
यज्ञार्था कर्मण्यता लोकं कर्म बंधना तदर्थम कर्म कोणत्याही मुक्त संघास माचरा.
Thank you, Tulsi. So that verse says that what Tulsi recited just now. Lokoam karma kantaya. I'm forgetting that verse. So
one thing, Mataji, one question. Is she just remembered that verse?
Yeah, Prabhu, she has memorized that verse.
Wow, I'm just.
She's pretty amazing. Yeah.
I'm like,
It is amazing.
I understood Bhagavad Gita completely now.
Everyone, you're great to say me that.
How many verses you know?
I know so many verses.
Mataji, how old is Tulsi?
Tulsi is 4 years, Mataji.
4 years.
And how many verses she knows, Mataji? Just randomly she knows like stuff?
She knows some verses, Prabhu. I haven't count. She knows some verses. Yeah. I forgot this verse actually. Lokom, yeah. So,
put her charan dhuli on my head. I can't remember.
It's funny that you asked and Tulsi just recited it.
Yeah, I don't know how I forget that Lokam Karma Bandhana. I really don't remember now. Also.
It's the age factor, Padmalochini. I know you're very young, but you're older than Tulsi.
I am older than Tulsi. I forget very easily. So yeah. So actually, what does that verse is, which has been just recited, that if we do the work for Krishna's or Vishnu's satisfaction, then that work will not bound us. But if we do the work that is not satisfying to Lord Vishnu, then that will bound us in the karma. So then we'll be get bound up when we get the reaction. So if he translation as we have read, nor he is bound by his actions. So because he is doing his work to satisfy Lord Vishnu, that's why he's not bound, and that's why I got to think of that words. So because he's not bound of his action, because why? Because he's doing it as a to satisfy Lord Vishnu. So Krishna wanted that war to happen. Krishna has already killed all these soldiers, mass killing Krishna has planned, right? Because Krishna came to relieve a burden of the mother earth at the prayers of the demigod and mother earth. So he gathered them all together, and then he has already killed them, because Krishna knows vedam samatitani vartamani cha arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kashana. So Krishna says, I know everything, past, present, and future, not only mine, not only yours, even all the living entities. If we go out, we see if we see small area, right, a little 1 centimeter area, there will be so many bacteria, so many bugs, so many ant will be there. So all of them karmas Krishna know. So if we think about, we don't even remember. If we memorize something, we don't remember what we have eaten. If I think what I have eaten at this time 1 week back, I have to scratch, I have to do so much burden to my mind, that what I have to remember. But for Krishna, he does remember everything. It has been said, if in the black hill, right, there will be black ant, and it's not visible to anybody, but Krishna knows everything about that. So Krishna knows each and every one of us, and how it has been nicely designed, right? Everyone, they get their karma's result. So karma is so complex to understand also, right? So but every one of us get our karmic reaction. According to that, we take birth. According to that, we spend some time in this body, and then, as I mentioned in the 15th verse, Krishna says that they give up this body and they take up another body. But who is foolish? They cannot see. Who can see? Jnana chakshashu pashyati. So who has the Jnana Chakshu, whose knowledge has been trained, whose eyes has been trained in this knowledge, they can see that. So here, what Prabhupada is saying in this verse is, I wanted to say one pastime also, but I don't think so we have time. Maybe next time I'll share, but it was a very nice time, or quickly I'll say in 2 minutes then. So what here Prabhupada says in the purport, that Lord informs Arjuna that why he do not fight, because of the false ego. He is in the bodily conception of life, and he is thinking that if I'll kill, and there are many reasons, right? Arjuna gave that, whom I will enjoy with, to whom I will show my this kingdom, and multiple reasons he gave. So but Krishna, he forgot that there is a supreme section. Krishna was there himself, there in the chariot of Arjuna, and his sanctions was there to fight, and he spoke all the Bhagavad Gita, Karpanya Doshapata Sabhava. That's verse 2.7. Arjuna surrenders, and then after that, Krishna, start instructing Arjuna, and then he says, I have told you everything now. Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. Whatever you desire, you do. So he doesn't force that you have to fight, but yeah, he tells him that in the starting of the chapters, he says that if you doesn't fight, then you will not gain anything. You will gain what you call defame, and defame is higher for the Kshatriya than death, right? So he says, but if you will fight and you will win, what happens? Two things Krishna says. If you fight, you win, you will get the kingdom to enjoy here. And if you die while fighting, then you will attain the heavenly planets. Why? Because a Kshatriya, that is his duty to fight. And when he has been challenged and he has to fight, then he cannot run back from the battle. So supreme sanction was there. That's why. And Krishna also says that, that's why we discussed, right? He kills the men in this world, but he doesn't kill. I'm saying about Arjuna also. So he has killed so many men, but do you think Arjuna got the defame of killing all these men? We glorify Arjuna as a great devotee of the Lord. So because he has worked to satisfy the Krishna's senses, so that is the main important thing we should understand. We should not try to satisfy our senses, we should try to satisfy the supreme senses, because Krishna is called Rishikesha. So then he will be once his senses are satisfied, our senses will automatically get satisfied, because we are the part and parcel of Krishna. So that's what sometimes people think, okay, if I'll become the servant of Krishna, how will I enjoy? We enjoy more than that, right? Krishna takes a body and position to Mother Yashoda. If we see Mother Yashoda can bind Krishna, who can bind Krishna? So Mother Yashoda bind Krishna, and Radha Rani, he submit to her lotus feet. So all the gopis and all his devotees, right? He surrendered to them. So Krishna is a very, very dear and very beautiful God. Actually, is not like the commander or the boss kind of thing. So Krishna's friend wrestle with him in the spiritual world. So we'll just stop at after 2-3 minutes. I'll just quickly share this pastime, the false ego, about the false ego. So there is a very, very beautiful pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Adi Leela 17th chapter. It's a pastime of passing away of Srivas Thakur. So we know Srivas Thakur is one of the Panchatattva. So Shiva's Angan, we know it was famous for Lord doing the Kirtan. So there was daily Kirtan happen in Shiva's Angan every evening, and devotees just dance in ecstasy when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and everybody dance very, very beautifully. So one day what happened, the Kirtan was going on, and Shiva's son died. One of his son died, and Shivas has been called to the inner chamber of the home, because the kirtan was going on. So he was called, and he went, and he told to his family members, like his wife was crying and other relatives were crying. He told, "You do not cry. If you cry, then it will disturb the Lord Kirtan." So he did not want to disturb Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy and what he was feeling. Lord Chaitanya was so happy, because the devotees who are too attached to the Lord, they cannot see the Lord, Lord happiness being, disturbed. So he told that do not cry, and then he again went and sit down in that kirtan, and again performed the kirtan. So but what happened after some time, or I think in the morning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we know, right, he is also the super soul, is none other than Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt some sadness, and he was thinking something has happened. So then he asked, so nothing, Shiva didn't say anything, and other devotees said that Shiva's son had died in the night. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt so bad. He started crying, and he was thinking, why didn't you have told me earlier? And then he went to the room of that son, the room where the son was died, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he put his hand on the head of the child, and the child began to speak. Dead body, the soul came back, and then he started speaking, and he said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked very, very very nice question. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, why have you left your father's house? What is the reason why you are leaving? So what does that child reply? We have to hear very carefully. My Lord, I am your eternal servant, and wherever you send me, that's where I want to be. By the power of destiny and by the power of your mercy, I was allowed to live all these days in the auspicious home of Shivas. But now, by the power of your will, my destiny is to move on to another body. Who is my relative? Who is my father? Who is my mother? When the time comes, the soul must depart from the body. Now, my Lord, I beg you, please forgive me for my offenses. I have made, and grant me the boon that wherever you send me, I may always be in the association of your devotees. With your permission, I'll now go. So what we understand here, and when all the family member, they hear this, and then they have understood so much about the importance of the bhakti and what attraction here for the Lord. So they felt they begged to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that always keep them in the association of the devotees. So basically what that child has told, that because we are going through millions of lifetime, and anyways, for even a small ant, there is a parent. For cow, for everything, for animals, for human beings. So because that is how the world has been set up. So we come, right? Our cows become our father and mother. But we should understand how many father and mother we had. And if we just consider that in the bodily conception of life, then our relationships are not correct. So as in also in Brahma's prayers, which were supposed to read in this Purushottam month. The Purushottam month is also ending on 16th. So in there also, Brahma says that the home, family, children, wealth, everything become useless, or everything is the foot shekel. The family relationship, everything is the foot shekel when it doesn't when they doesn't serve to the Lord. So when all the family member are just in the bodily conception of life or without Krishna consciousness, then all of this become a foot shekel. You know why become a foot shekel? Because it will keep you bound in the bodily conception of life, and it will bereft you from your spiritual joy, which you can experience by doing the devotional service to Krishna. So here this child is also saying, I was because of your will, I was here for some time. Now I have to go on to my another destination. So that's how this pastor just wanted to share. This is completely, and later on, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the benediction, it's not just ended here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, because of our unconditional love to Srivas, he says that myself, me and Nityananda are your eternal sons. So that's how we aspire for, right? That's how I was remembering this past time. Niranjan Maharaj, His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj was sharing this pastime one time, I think in the Diwali last year, or when he came here, he was sharing this pastime. So Nityananda and I become your son. So we aspire for that, right? We aspire for the eternal things. We do not want to die as a body grow old. We have lot of many diseases. We try to cure them. That's not wrong to cure your body, but we have to also understand the why we are curing our body. We have to use in Krishna's service. That's how we have to understand. So I would like to take forgiveness. I have take 8 minutes extra. But if anybody has anything to share quick, we can take 1 minute and then we will wrap up the call for today.
Very nice story, Padmalochini.
Thank you, Mataji. It's very
very nice story, Mama.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Then we'll offer Vaishnava pranams and then we'll end the call. Vancha kalpatarubhascha
कृपासिन्धुवैव पतिता पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो नमः.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tulsi.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol, Mama.
Hare Krishna.